ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 10th episode of Downloadable Opinions. My name is Captain Kirk. No, it's Brian Best.
I was going to say, when did William Shatner join us?
My name is Brian Best. I'm here with Adam Gayton. How are you doing, Adam?
I'm doing very well, especially because we have our new goddamn compact flash card.
Which means we can talk forever and ever and ever again.
Yeah, we're going to do a special sometime at this year where it's going to be just 12 hours nonstop.
Nonstop, just us talking about
Not even for charity. We just want to do 12 hours because we know how much you guys love listening to us.
Absolutely. You know how long you stay in here and listen to
We didn't say what the programming would be. We didn't mention that nap time was going to be for 6 hours, but you know.
Exactly. But anyways, this is a show where we talk about the video game news of the week, and sometimes that video game news is a lot of news, and sometimes it's not so much. Take this past week, for example. We have a good show for you though today, but we're going to start off with some business-like news, anyways. Today, Nintendo announced their first quarterly earnings. That's right, we're going to start talking about quarterly earnings on the show. Calling today that they had a operating loss of $132 million. Nintendo did try to highlight that they got higher sales of their 3DS console, which would more than doubled, but then quietly mentioned that they still lose money off of each 3DS that's sold. In addition to sales of Wii's and DS's basically waning over the past quarter, it's no surprise that Nintendo is declaring an operating loss of some kind. But they have gone on to say to investors that their focus on digital downloads will lead to higher game sales and hopefully have a better Q2 and Q3 earnings call. Now, my question to you, Adam, what the heck's Nintendo doing? Like, we've seen so far the Wii, the DS, the Wii U, the 3DS. They're clearly been saturated in the market, and do you think there's any hope at Nintendo? Well, there's going to be hope, but what do you think of their just basically this situation right now?
I think they need to come out with like 3 more, cliche stuff to bring out and just say, here, 3 more gimmicks. Buy these now. Buy them. Seriously, buy them. Please, we need money. Buy them. I don't know what the hell. I can tell you right now why they're screwing up. Of course they're going to lose money off the 3DS. If they actually sold it at the price that it was worth, nobody would buy it. No. 3D is way too expensive. The people who buy the 3D TVs are idiots. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. Those things are pointless, expensive, and ridiculous. Yeah. So the 3DS, when you say to us that, while the sales have doubled, they're still losing money. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
you realize that these things would probably cost $300 otherwise.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, all consoles at first lose money, regardless. I believe even the PS3 is still losing marginally amount of, a couple bucks now. But that's the point. They use that loss to sell more games because of each game they make a large percentage of money. I don't think it's 70-30.
But from what I've seen with the 3DS, they haven't had a lot of big hit games. That's the problem.
Well, they had their big launch titles like Ocarina of Time, and I would say that the 3DS version of Metal Gear Solid was also a big thing.
But here's the thing: how many big games have you actually heard coming off the 3DS since then?
Nothing until Super Smash Brothers comes out, to be honest.
And that's automatically problem number 1. Yeah. Because how long has that thing been out? Almost a year?
Super Smash Brothers isn't out.
No, I'm talking the 3DS.
Oh, 3DS has been out for, about a year and a half.
So when you think about it, since the handheld launched, and you're telling me right now that the next big game the first real big game that's coming out since then is going to be Super Smash Bros. Because it isn't out yet? Yeah. That's problem number 1 right there. I'm sure there's a couple games that we don't know off the top of our heads that have sold really well, maybe even Japan alone, but we're not getting this information. It's not being thrown in our faces saying, look how well this is doing. Yeah. We're hearing completely out of left field because Minecraft has gotten so big on the Xbox, it sold its 3 millionth unit, and that just got to us from everything. Yeah. Nobody's talking about this big 3DS game has sold this much. This is getting grave reviews. Nothing has happened for it.
That's the thing. The Game Boy had its heyday back in 95, 98.
Pokemon.
I know it's a big thing, big difference of time. But yes, the Pokemon genre was really what sold or moved Game Boys. And that was huge amounts of money. And granted, there have been other portable games that have been good. The Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, Professor Layton, this kind of stuff for Nintendo has been good. There just hasn't been that great game that gets us, like people that aren't really portable gamers, into the
Because
portable
the
gaming
problem
market.
is that, especially with the 3DS, there's so much focus on making the game 3D that they're taking some of the space off the cartridge just for the 3D alone.
Yeah.
That's the problem. That's the problem when you have gimmick games. That's why Kinect games always suck, because so much attention gets put on the Kinect controls that you can never polish it to be a good game.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how good Steel Battalion would have been had it not been a Kinect game?
Yeah, it would have been Steel Battalion
Because
before.
I mean, Angry Joe did a review. He said everything except the controls are amazing. The graphics are really good for what it's worth being, and the story's phenomenal. The characters are really good. The voice acting's well done. Everything else is great, but the gameplay sucks.
Yeah,
and that's the problem. If you can't make the gameplay solid, you're not going to sell the game.
That's very true. And that is the thing that runs deep with like these gimmick motion controls, like the Wii and with Kinect. The 3D effect, I don't know how much it takes off of the actual card, but you're right in the fact
It's
that
taking up some room, and that room could be used for polish.
But it's also man hours that are put into
Exactly.
doing that. It would, I don't know, because like the Vita still runs into the same problem. The only game that gets people to buy the Vita would be like Uncharted Golden Abyss, or in my case, the Metal Gear Solid HD.
But at this
pack.
point, the Vita still has a little more time because they haven't been out nearly as long.
But
So the Vita gets a little bit more of a rope to go on.
Yeah.
And they do have a little bit more to offer with the graphics being as good as they are.
The thing. Sony is pushing this Vita to have first-party games made for it.
Yep.
And they're wanting to get those things that get people back into the Vita, like the Final Fantasy remakes, like Final Fantasy X and 7, I think we reported on.
It's not being remade, but it's the
no,
Steam release,
it's right. It's being released on Steam. Never mind. But even still, Sony is putting a lot of pressure on their developers to be like, make first-party titles, make it awesome, because this thing can literally pump out great graphics and great gameplay. Nintendo can have that great graphics, and we've seen this capability of having that, but it just doesn't have. I won't say the pressure, because Nintendo does have pressure on their developers to make something like this, but they just don't have the same kind of, I want to say oomph, like passion to make it. I know it's weird coming from. I am more of a Nintendo and Xbox fanboy than I am a Sony fanboy. So I don't know.
I mean, that's the thing. Like we've said it over and over again that Nintendo has clearly lost sight of its original track record, and it's gone so far just trying to make the quick buck from the families who will just buy any sort of gimmick for the kids because the kids are raving about it.
Yeah.
They need to take some time. I know the Wii U's coming out, so you know what? They finally have a chance. They got the graphic capability to at least have good-looking games to an extent. It's not ever going to be at par with the upcoming Xbox and the PS4 or whatever they're going to call that. But they will have an opportunity now, again, with this new launches. They have to make this work. They have to make solid games. They can't just make, one Metroid, one Zelda, one Mario, and like a new Super Smash Brothers in the next 4 years and hope that works. They need to really, really give third parties. Yeah. That's what's going to make the sales. They got it. The third parties have to be able to make good games, because as we saw with the Wii, third party games did not do very well.
Yeah, and you know what? This is all the whole reason Wii is kind of geared towards the family market is because I would say it's because of the how bad they got bit with the GameCube. And being that, it was supposed to be a hardcore gaming machine, it's meant for the gamers to play it on. And we did see some good games come out on it. I mean, Metroid Prime from Retro Studios. And Resident Evil 4. People often forget that the first edition of Resident Evil 4 came out on GameCube. Eternal Darkness,
that
again.
Was probably one of the best horror games in that time.
You know what? It's really sad that Silicon Knights is folded, because they were a really good game company. But Nintendo got bit real hard, and that's why they went for the casual market, and it worked out in their favor for a long time. And now that we're coming back down to it, and that casual market does not like to reinvest like hardcore gamers do, the Wii U will have to appease the hardcore gamers in some manner in order for it to make some kind of sales. And this all comes back to the quarterly earnings anyways, that we might see more losses in the long run of Nintendo while they try to figure out this kind of how they're going to make more money. I don't know. But anyways, let's move on to our next story. Halo 4, Forward Unto Dawn. Basically, the new way that I see a lot of places marketing their new games, this is especially true in Mortal Kombat, is they come up with new web series that are kind of shot as really cool sci-fi shows. And Like we saw, what was the Mortal Kombat one called?
Rebirth.
Rebirth. That was really cool and had some, pretty decent star power in it. That Jerry Ryan playing, I can't remember who, but she was pretty hot in it. Anyways, Forward Onto Dawn. This basically takes place at a training facility in the Halo universe before the Covenant War. And has a bunch of set pieces, like just action. It's all, well, first off, I should say it is all live action. There is CG. It's not done in animated style. It's all real, but it like takes me back to almost Battlestar Galactica. Kind of watching that for the first time, just like, oh, this is actiony sci-fi with a lot of different set pieces and 3D action, while still having a pretty decent story that I kind of want to see it progress into something cool. But I've seen the trailer. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't actually.
Okay, well, you should.
I'm not a big Halo guy, so it's not as important to me. But I mean, I like we talked about the Mortal Kombat ones. I mean, I've seen the trailers, the real-time trailers that they've done for Halo 4. So, I get the idea of where it's going. Attention Sci-Fi or any other of these network channels, you need to start watching these studios because the stuff they're coming out with is so good.
I completely agree. It's just like, there was no good sci-fi shows on anymore.
It doesn't matter. They don't have to be 30, half-hour, or even an hour-long series. They can make these like quick 15-minute things to bumper things.
Yeah.
You guys need to pick up on this.
Well, the thing is, they're like, look at the sci-fi offerings right now. Like, look at Sci-Fi Channel right now. There's practically nothing on it.
I wouldn't know. I have no intention of ever looking at that.
It's just like, the only thing that's on there is like, a couple of new seasons of like Supernatural, which a lot of fans agree should have ended, a season ago. But
like most shows.
But, now that they canceled, they canceled Star Trek years ago. They canceled Stargate. There's no new sci-fi shows coming out in the pipeline. And it's just like, we're seeing an entire genre of like shows just die and fall off the face of the planet.
Just make a Star Trek marathon every day. You'll be fine.
I want new blood. I want new stuff. I'm.
Have they even said anything about making a new Star Trek movie since the
They are,
Rebirth?
and I'm so pumped about it because you know who's playing the villain? Benjamin Cumberbatch, who you probably don't know, but plays Sherlock Holmes in the BBC series Sherlock.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say he's probably in some like either HBO or BBC special that I have no idea about.
You got to watch Sherlock. It's awesome. It's like
I don't watch TV anymore.
It's on Netflix.
Okay.
There you go. The first season's available on Netflix. It's 3 episodes, 120 minutes each, which is pretty awesome.
2 hours. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time.
Well, it's a little bit less than 120. It's more like an hour and a half.
Well,
but whatever.
We're talking commercials. Duh.
Yeah. But 2 hours, yeah. But yeah, no. What we're talking about? Forward Onto Dawn, yeah. But this is definitely a cool way with studios that have tons of money to throw around, making like these cool kind of.
And some of them are even
series.
independent studios. Like the Mortal Kombat series was not a studio. It was like these just small group of guys wanting to do it.
Yeah, and it was like, hey, we're gonna put it together.
And they got funded.
Boom. Yeah, and it's awesome. And it looks amazing. Like it's.
If I were doing these big games coming out, I would look at some of these studios and say, you know what, we could really generate some buzz for this. Imagine Watch Dogs doing that.
That would be really cool to see Watch Dogs actually come out.
Because I thought about Assassin's Creed, and then I'm like, you know what, no, because.
The storyline's way too weird for that right now.
Not even that. It's more, it's a lot more costly to shoot, past era stuff. It's a lot harder because there's a lot more costuming.
Yeah.
So, Watch Dogs Watch Dogs has got a really good concept for it anyway.
Watch Dogs is pretty amazing, and there is a lot of lead up for Watch Dogs to actually do something with the plot.
Yeah, they got plenty of time.
Because I mean, if you go into the actual storyline, it goes from 2003, I think it was. Whenever we had that big blackout.
Yeah.
That's when it starts in terms of where the character gets started, and then it goes up to today. So there is some really cool stuff that they could do with that storyline. And Ubisoft, just saying, you want someone to play in that film.
What else do you think they would that should be trying this? I mean, Mass Effect could have had the games
Mass
coming
Effect
out.
could have had something really cool, but
after
it came out, we've just been like,
if they're coming out with a brand new story without Shepard, that would be a good idea to have to generate the buzz for that. Because if they're going to get a whole new character, you need to get some interest in it. So have like this prequel to that 4th game where you get to see how this new character got his start or something like that,
Yeah. Well, they are doing that with, I want to say Paragon Lost, I think it is. But it's an animated movie with starring...
Yeah, no, I'm not... you can do anything animated these days, so it's not really as important.
But, I mean, Yeah, absolutely. Like if you see Forward Unto Dawn, like you will watch just looking at it, it looks really cool. And I mean it does cost a bit, but like BioWare has money to throw at this, or EA anyways does have money to throw at this, and it would just be a cool way to get your fans more into your games. Yeah, I could see that for Mass Effect. I could also see it for Metal Gear Solid 5.
They could.
Just because Kojima basically didn't know that he'd be getting another game out of the Metal Gear Solid franchise. Metal Gear Solid 4 was supposed to be it.
You know what? I think he might as well come to terms. They'll probably be making like 3 or 4 more because if they keep selling the way they do, they're just
money.
They're just gonna keep going up to him and say, "Here's another X million dollars. Go make another." Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
For all the fans that lived in that universe and saw all the stuff, read all the fiction to it, it's going to be really hard for them to make a new game out of the story that they've built for themselves. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with it. And I think that would be a good way of coming up with it. But anyways, let's move on to our last story of the day. I originally named this On Again, Off Again until I read the story, but Boss from Square Enix confirms that Final Fantasy Versus 13 is still a go. Now, I think it was last week, basically, Final Fantasy 13 Versus 13 was said to have been canceled.
Yeah, the leak was that it had been canceled and that they were going to make a Final Fantasy 13 announcement in September, and everybody assumed that meant 13.3 was on its way. Mm-hmm. That was the assumption.
Yeah. But now, apparently, the big boss at Square Enix says
Not to be confused with Big Boss from Metal Gear Solid.
Exactly.
I know you still have that in your head, so stop it. Stop it.
I'm sorry. Naked Snake. Whatever.
Riding, naked riding.
Oh, God, no. You're ruining it.
Yes.
But Final Fantasy Versus 13 is still a go. Apparently, the boss at Square Enix still receives regular reports from the team. Now, this has been a thing. Like, they've announced 13 Versus for, when was the first time they did it?
It was like at E3 06 or 07, I think, was the first
announcement. It's been a while,
to it.
Yeah.
It's had such a long lifespan. It's like XCOM all over again.
Mm-hmm. XCOM?
Yeah, because it's had a long lifespan. It's been getting completely revamped and whatever else, and they're still delaying it for another 2 years.
It took them forever.
Well, yeah, but we don't need to talk about that one because it didn't end up being anything good either.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it'll be an interesting concept.
Not that I'm saying Versus 13 is going to be good. I guarantee you it's going to be a piece of crap. It's taken this long to make. You really think it's going to be that great?
Well, if it's like Halo... No. Halo. Half-Life.
Yeah, but Valve's not doing this, and Square Enix has really lost their touch. They're like true. Nintendo. They've really lost sight.
I would say... I would probably argue against that just because there are some parts of Square Enix that do still have their wits about them, and I'll say that about the team that made Deus Ex Human Revolution, because that is a great game.
But they also had other hands in that, and that was more of a North American ideal too.
Exactly.
I think Eidos was in on it too, and I mean, I personally think what's really happened to Square and what's really killed them is ever since they acquired Enix, because what a lot of people don't realize is Dragon Quest is much bigger than Final Fantasy. Mm. Japan, it's all Dragon Quest. Final Fantasy is not the top thing in Japan. It's Dragon Quest by a landslide.
Yeah.
So the problem is when they take on something even that much bigger, a lot of your resources are going to go to 2 massive franchises, and you can only focus so much on that.
You know what? I just realized that the last game that was made under the Square name was Final Fantasy X.
Yep.
And I freaking love that game.
Does that really tell you?
And I hate everything else that's come after that. So I would definitely lend credence that Enix has definitely kind of...
I'm not saying it's Enix's fault. I think it's just the fact that, like I said, there's been so much extra that's come with it.
Yeah.
Because Star Ocean came with it too. Mm. So there's 3 big franchises now they have to deal with. Mm-hmm. And it's really hard to put all those resources into all of them. I mean, they've done really well with Dragon Quest still, because the DS game that came out, Dragon Quest IX, I think it was really good.
Yeah.
It was really well received. Mm-hmm. I mean, they've made some gems here and there. The World Ends With You is a really nice DS game.
Absolutely, yep.
Kingdom Hearts, for what it's worth, they've made some decent games. They've made some good attempts. Mm-hmm. I mean, like we said, Deus Ex Human Revolution. So it's not that they've completely lost it, but especially with Final Fantasy, it's really lost its touch. And thank God 13.2 was a much better change. Mm-hmm. It still isn't up to the level that it was before 11 came out, when they tried to start doing online.
Yeah.
But it's starting to kind of...
Then maybe Final Fantasy 13.2 is that kind of ray of hope that there is a future for the Final Fantasy series.
Because it wasn't 14 when they pulled it back and they're remaking it.
Yeah, it wasn't that. But
I keep saying it. If they really, really want to revive the series, make 15, but make it old school. No crappy, no weird leveling system. Just straight, you got to level 2. Here's the ability you get. Go back to that. Do one old school game. Get the fans excited again because it's back to what they remember. Get the nostalgia back.
Yeah, but you gotta.
They tried making a game like Dissidia. That's character nostalgia. It's not game nostalgia.
But those, you gotta remember, those old school gamers now are like, they're 24, 25, 30. They have kids now. They want to cash in on the next teen.
So then how does a system like the Crystarium or whatever, how does that appeal to a kid though?
I have no idea. They probably have focus groups telling them that, people love customization. Look at COD and all the customizable weapons you got. Kids are going to eat up customizability.
Yeah, but the Crystarium wasn't really customizable.
Well, I've never played Custeria.
No, like 13. You've played 13.
I've played 13.
Yeah, the Crystarium. The leveling up system with the...
That's what it's called?
I think that's what it's called, a Crystarium or something, like Crystallium or something.
I just called it the piece of shit I never want to use ever again.
That's not customization. That's going down a path and just choosing if you don't want to do that one.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
I mean, that's why I enjoy, like, even, like, as much as I'm not a fan of 7, the materia system was a good idea. That worked.
Yeah.
The junction system was crap. 9, I'm not even going to talk about it. The sphere grid was probably the closest thing you can get to true customization, but the problem is there were still limitations until halfway through the game when you really got some spheres that could really make some things.
Yeah.
Because once you got to the halfway point, obviously, you could take Riku and just make her into an Orin.
Yeah.
Or you could take an Orin and just suddenly make him into this mage for why you want to, because he's got this gigantic sword, but,
You can do that if you want to.
I think the last thing that they need to do is they kind of need to let you create your own, I guess, your own face. Like, have your... Like, I know, again,
that's really Western, like, RPG.
I think that's the thing they have to do, though.
Yeah.
JRPGs are almost done. Western RPGs like Skyrim, Mass Effect, and everything else, they're taking over the market because they're offering more. They're offering more landscape, more missions, more customization.
More stuff to do.
What JRPGs had for the longest time was story. And Western RPGs are slowly creeping up to having just as good a story.
And I would agree with you. I mean, games like Mass Effect and Deus Ex are Western RPGs, and they have great stories.
I mean, for me, the last good RPG I played was the Persona series on the PlayStation 2. Since then, the last half-decent JRPG I played was Star Ocean: The Last Hope on the 360.
Yeah.
I'm not counting 13.2 because I still connected to a game that was terribly written. So unfortunately for 13.2, it's not on my list. And because I'm starting to feel Final Fantasy is slowly starting to take some Western influence. I mean, they're still not going to get rid of the quirky haircuts, but
Oh no. That's a staple of... You can't have a JRPG without crazy haircuts. I'm sorry, but that's just the way things have to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Apparently, everybody in Japan has nothing but hair gel available.
Apparently. Their biggest export is hair gel.
Yeah, they must have, like, just these gigantic... Instead of a Walmart, it's just a hair gel store. It's just, like, miles and miles of hair gel products.
Liquid...
Because apparently everybody in Japan goes through a bottle a day. I don't know what's going on over there.
No idea. But, I mean, you do have a point in that story is something that, I wish we had more of JRPGs. I don't know. But we're getting that from, like, all these different facets from Western developers now. I mean, look at Heavy Rain and now Beyond Two Souls. It's going to be... That is pure story.
Well, I mean, BioWare is probably the company who clinched giving Western RPGs that good story.
Absolutely.
Because you had Knights of the Old Republic when that started.
Which was awesome.
You had Mass Effect coming out.
Yeah.
They have the Old Republic as well that's coming out, which isn't as obviously as great, but they have all these things now where they are writing just as good, if not better now.
Yeah.
Because
it wasn't hard to make better stories in JRPGs, to be honest.
Well, because JRPGs have suddenly gotten so far-fetched and so unrealistic.
Yeah. And some of that has to do with translation. Other it has to do with poor story writing.
All your base lore belong to us.
Yes, absolutely.
Or what's the one from Zelda 2? I Am Error?
I Am Error, yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. It's not back to those days, but
But yeah, it's definitely...
Actually, I saw something that really confused me. I found something that actually the Japanese voicing is worse than the English. I was watching this one clip of a Dragon Ball Z movie that I can't remember the title of because it was on YouTube. It was just one of the random movies they pop out. The Japanese voice acting was so terrible. I swear to God, I'm listening to it thinking, I cannot take you seriously. Yeah. I know you're not supposed to take Dragon Balls that seriously, but like, I can't even take the fighting seriously.
It's just completely different tones. And,
like,
or just flat monotone the entire
even
time.
Vegeta doesn't sound badass. I'm like, guys, Did you forget that these guys are supposed to be like ass kickers of the universe?
Yeah, does he sound like a little kid or something
I mean,
like that?
Vegeta sounds like, and instead it's like, I'm gonna kick your ass. And instead in Japanese, it sounds like he's just some fat old man or something like that. It sounds so weird.
Maybe that's because you're used to Vegeta sounding like that deep, raspy voice.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, I mean,
not deep, but
you can still tell tones. Doesn't matter what the language is. You can tell.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. But voice acting in general is like a big thing of storytelling, and it is a bit of a bane for a lot of developers.
Well, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to take a story seriously if you think that a moment which is supposed to be really sad and depressing sounds kind of funny.
That's true. That's very true.
Voice acting can be a huge factor.
Yeah, and sometimes it's better to have just text,
especially NPCs. Some voice acting in NPCs in a lot of games are just like really weird.
Yeah, when it's the same character saying the same thing to himself.
Like the Battleship game.
I've never played Battleship.
There is only like 4 faces for NPCs in Battleship. It's literally like 200 characters and they all have the same like 4 faces. Risen 2 does the same thing too, where there's a lot of similar faces.
Okay. What is it? Fallout 3, as well as Oblivion.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with Bethesda not being able to make a slightly different face.
You know what? Bethesda's just like, we're not even going to worry about faces, and we're not going to worry about voice actors. We're just going to make a massive game that's really fun to play.
I mean, they do that. And again, that's why JRPGs back in the day had such an advantage on Western RPGs, because Western RPGs were like that. They tried so hard just to make a good game, and everything else was just terrible.
Yeah. I don't know.
So, like I said, with games like Mass Effect, they're eventually catching up. That's what's going on.
That's true. Anyways, moving off from Final Fantasy 13 versus 13, I hate that name of that title, into QuickTime events. So, World of Warcraft Mists of Pandaria has a release date now of September 25th, which means all you former WoW addicts will finally get your next hit of...
Sorry, parents, your 30-year-old sons are going to be stuck in the basement for another couple of years.
Yes, exactly. This is another attempt by Blizzard to try and... Well, not another attempt, but it's basically... I think this will be the last
They need to make more commercials with celebrities saying, I'm William Shatner, and I am a shaman. They need more of those commercials. You know who should do it? Get Alice Cooper.
Alice Cooper?
So he comes out with the snake.
Who was it? No, Ozzy did it.
Yeah,
I was going to say
Ozzy
Slash did it, but Ozzy...
Get Alice Cooper to come out with the snake.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
That would be pretty cool.
But anyway, I love Epic Mealtime. I'm sure you've watched it and looked at some of the things saying, I am so hungry right now.
I could definitely.
They have a game coming up for the iOS, which I think is awesome.
I think
as long as they have recipes on there too,
yep.
That'd be awesome.
Well, I've heard it's supposed to be like Cooking Mama. If you're not familiar with that game, it's essentially you doing mini
Except
games.
lots of more bacon. Lots more
bacon.
And candy bacon on top of bacon.
Bacon on bacon on bacon on bacon. Anyways, it's about time this Epic Mealtime had some kind of game made about
I'm surprised it didn't up until now.
Yeah, me too. Resident Evil 6 pre-order bonus will be Umbrella Corporation Umbrella.
So is that one of your new video game tie-in products that you think you really want?
I really want this. I mean, it'd just be so cool.
Nobody's going to get the reference.
No one's going to get the reference, but it'll just be like, ha ha ha,
I'm evil.
I work for a zombie company. What do you guys do?
Speaking of zombies, Valve is going to release free DLC for Left 4 Dead 2, and they're also going to put the game up on sale for $5 at the same time. Which is awesome, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, the game's getting really old now. I'm sure most people who wanted to play the game, they've bought the game. But for people who've probably returned it,
last 5 people on Earth that don't have it,
or people who've like uninstalled it or whatever, or they've changed their Steam account, they have to buy it again or whatever. That's a good deal. Yeah. That's a great deal.
It's a great deal for everyone, and that's they're putting on their midweek sale. So by the time you hear this, it's probably gone back up to full price. So I hope you bought it. Anyways, let's get into our open-ended questions of life. So what item, this is the question, and this is for you guys as well as home, what item from video, or what, damn it, Adam?
I'm going to say it because you can't. What items in video games would you wish you had in real life?
Thank you.
Brian can't read today.
I can't read any day. If you go back to these podcasts, it's just like I fumble up on words all the time.
And that's why when I do the sports podcast, I'm bullshitting all of it.
Yes. Anyways, items I wish I had. You know what? To be honest, the portal gun would probably be like the number one thing, just because it would be like, kaboosh, kaboosh, I'm getting to work now. Or
yeah, you just be walking through walls just to quickly go through it.
Yeah.
And never have to drive again.
Be an excellent marital aid as well. Oh yes. Oh yes, I went there.
I'm just not even gonna say anything.
But other than that, I mean, who doesn't want a lightsaber as well as... let me just think about this.
Yeah, that's not really a video game item. It's still a movie prop.
But it is in not movies, video games.
It's just not what it's based from. But...
Damn it. The Ebon Hawk, then.
Okay, fair enough.
There we go. From KOTOR, Knights of the Republic. So, that's mine for you.
Fair enough.
Yep.
You got that.
Okay.
I'm going to have some really weird ones.
Okay.
I want a question box from Mario.
Why do you want a question box?
So I can store things in and then punch it, so make it come out and people be like, what the hell?
Oh my god, that would be a badass product. Can someone make that, please?
So I just kind of walk up. I'm just going to get my wallet.
Ching.
Or just put like a gigantic coin in it.
Look at all this
ding.
gold!
And just be like, ha. I'm going to buy this car now. I'm not sure it's not... I have this giant coin. Take it.
I'm sure that car, if you have a giant gold coin the size of the giant gold coin
I should be able to buy your store.
You should be able to buy that entire city block with the price of gold today.
I'm trying to think, what else would I want though?
What else would... Because there's so many different games that have
I don't want weapons because you can't trust me with a weapon.
That would be bad.
Don't trust me with a weapon. So I'm
Okay.
trying to think of something else on the side.
Well, there's just you know what? An Omni tool from Mass Effect?
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool. It's kind of like a wearable
It's still got a
computer.
store. Or a sword, not a store. A sword.
It's only a sword in the last game.
As long as they tell me not to push this button, like you don't tell Will Smith to push the red button in Men in Black. But then again, you tell me not to push something, what do you think I'm going to do?
So people are going to press it. Of course.
Because I can't help weapons, this was too bad. I'm a big guitar guy.
Yep.
I don't know if you ever heard of the Shadow Hearts series on the PlayStation 2.
No.
There was one game called Shadow Hearts from the New World, and there's this one cliche, I guess, South Mexican guy who was, he was a cucaracha kind of guy. And he had this big sombrero, but he had a guitar as a weapon. And the weapon would be a gun, and if he flipped it over to the body end, it had a flamethrower. Also on the top, it had a missile launcher. I'm like, that is awesome. I can just be like serenading, and all of a sudden, boo, you suck.
Guess what? Kabam! Get out of my concert. It'd be pretty cool. I was just thinking of crap, I had it in my mind and now I can't remember it.
Because you're too busy thinking of flamethrowers.
I was thinking of flamethrowers, and you know what that led to? Lollipop Chainsaw. Juliet's chains, rainbow kind of crazy chainsaw thing. That would just be cool for killing zombies.
Just say you wanted a real life Juliet.
That too. That would be the thing.
Don't tell your girlfriend.
I'm not telling my girlfriend that. Jess, I'm sorry if you're listening to this, but that.
You just don't want to be a severed head.
I don't want to. Oh god, that would probably be the worst part. So I take that off my thing. I will go with instead.
That has been erased off the record.
Erase off the record. Just goodbye. I would actually want to have a diamond pickaxe from Minecraft. That actually works like a diamond pickaxe.
Have you seen the Skyrim mod for it?
No, I haven't.
Where some of the monsters are zombies and creepers. If you get too close to the creeper, they will actually blow up in fire in Skyrim. But horses, you can ride a pig with a saddle. And it actually it doesn't look like crap actually, which is really weird. It looks minus the fact that it's this block pig with a saddle on it, and it actually looks like he's legitimately walking. So it's not like some terribly done mod. It looks pretty good. But it's just so funny.
Can I just say, Skyrim has probably the best modding community.
Every game needs to have mod tools. I swear.
We've
I
talked
keep
about this at
saying
length before.
Call of
this
Duty,
is awesome.
Battlefield, Medal of Honor, any multiplayer shooter needs to have a map tool.
Yeah.
I know you can't put them online.
Yeah.
Make them private match maps. But seriously, do it. Let them do it.
Yeah, it would be awesome just having that was the point. Remember back in the day with Battlefield 1942?
Yeah.
It wasn't ranked. It wasn't anything. It was just you go online and you play and you have a fun time.
Counter-Strike Source is the biggest example of how you can make mods and maps and make them look so good.
Yeah.
I went on maybe a year ago. Almost none of the servers now, unless they're the 24/7 Dust 2 servers or whatever.
Yeah.
Almost everything is created maps now.
Yeah.
And some of them look like shit. Some of them are really good.
Twice the power. For anyone that gets that reference, you had a good time at MD back in 2007. Anyways, but yeah, no, the modding community, it's just I wish they would stop. Again, I wish they had modding stuff, but again, going into a little bit of a rant here, the gamification, having so many ranked stuff, this is especially for shooters. like Battlefield and COD. I hate, like, the ranking, the prestiges, the stuff that makes you think that you're better than other people. I know it's a selling point, and people love that stuff, but it's just so...
Believe me.
I want something that... I want to just have fun in a game.
Every time I have to sit in a public lobby, and I rarely do anymore, because I'll just sit in party chat, so I'm not going to listen to shit.
Yeah.
It's everybody complaining, oh, you guys, I hate you guys going to leave this game because my KDR is going to suck now. Who cares?
Yeah. It's like...
And half the time I look at these guys, oh, you have a 1.2. Bravo.
Yeah. It's just like, go and have fun with the game.
I'm literally playing normally. I have a constant 1.6.
Yeah.
I don't care. The only time I'm mad is if I have a 4 and 14 game, and anybody would be pissed off at that because you basically did nothing. But, like, I'm not going to cry just because I didn't have a game where I got 2.0 or more on my kill death ratio. I don't care. I keep telling this to people who are like that too. Don't give two shits about your own score. Worry about the team score.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the game, it's like in any sport. You could be the best player on the field, the ice, the pitch, whatever you want to say. But if your team's losing, you're not worth shit.
Yeah. It's a terrible, like... It's a terrible thing that we've gotten into, and we're never going to get away from it now.
No.
Because these franchises are set in these ways. Like, this is what sells their games now, is these people going off. And, like, I've never seen so many people try to compete against each other to make a better score for absolutely nothing. Like, 90% of all these gamers are not going out to esport games. They're not going out to any kind of tournaments or championships or winning anything. They're just doing it to get a little slightly better in terms of stats.
It's like I've talked to you about how EVO had their fighting game championships for everything, and how I'm sitting there looking at it thinking, you probably didn't make any money off this.
Yeah.
And really, like, you're the best in a game that probably nobody really plays that much. And the people who... I can't understand how people can take it so seriously. The only two games that I think people can take seriously in terms of the money you can make is League of Legends and StarCraft. Yeah. That's really it. You can't make much on Halo anymore. I remember, like, maybe 5-10 years ago, the score always had MLG TV on.
Yeah.
So you'd see Halo tournaments.
Yeah.
But it's not like that anymore. No. There are so many other games that are competitive and that kind of stuff that there's no one shooter anymore that can do it. You don't see that stuff on TV anymore, and that's the reason, because the only games that are on TV that would be on TV are StarCraft and League of Legends. And I'm sorry, but those games are boring to watch.
Yeah. I don't like it. It's just, I know it's never going to go away, and I guess I should embrace that fact, but it's just, I want to have a Battlefield game where all the effing weapons are unlocked at the beginning, so I can play with the tools I want. And
GoldenEye.
You know what? I was actually talking to my boss about the 007 franchise a little while ago, and she had played with her kids Nightfire a couple days ago, and it's just like
that was I love that multiplayer.
That multiplayer was awesome.
I love the ski level because I can get on top of the ski lifts and walk along the wires.
Yep, and you just snipe people off with like whatever weapon you had.
That was the one game where I was actually good at sniping.
You know what? Nightfire, to be honest, I think is on par, if not better, than GoldenEye. Just because that was the game that we all played. The couple of
games after GoldenEye, when the games got to the GameCube and PlayStation 2, were actually really good.
Yeah.
Agent Under Fire was decent.
Agent Under Fire, I really liked. It had a
Nightfire was really
decent
good.
Storyline or main campaign.
Now it's getting to the point where, like, okay,
come on, like, what was it? Die Another? No. No. Damn it! It was one with Pierce Brosnan in it.
It would be The World Is Not Enough.
No.
Those are the only three. Oh.
It was Pierce Brosnan and Willem Dafoe lend their appearances and voice
Tomorrow Never Dies.
No, it's not any of the film franchises.
Oh, it's not. Oh, okay.
It's one that was. Damn it! I'm gonna just drive myself crazy.
Was the third-person one?
It was. Yes, it was.
Everything or Nothing. I think it was.
Everything or Nothing. Yeah, that's it. And I'm just like, it was decent. It was
too
an
easy.
Interesting take.
It was a really easy game.
Yeah. It was a really easy game, and it kind of made me upset. But
I mean, they tried to go back with having the Sean Connery model from Russia with Love.
But he sounded really old Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you could tell like he's seen some years.
I mean, they're doing the new Legends game now, I think, is what their next project is.
Legends?
Yeah. The 007 Legends or something like that, where you're actually playing, like, you're going through a lot of the storylines. I think that's what it is. Oh, yeah. Where you're having Daniel Craig's character go through a lot more of the franchises.
Yeah. Well,
I think that's what it is. I'm not sure.
I played the demo for GoldenEye Reloaded for the Xbox 360.
I got it for the Wii. It was okay.
It's not bad. It's a really decent shooter.
It's just, I think it's the fact that it is Daniel Craig that just kind of makes it weird.
It is, and it's just like it makes me feel a little bit dirty inside. Just like I wish Pierce Brosnan would have been back for this role, but I know CBS has that contract with Daniel Craig where he has to be James Bond. So it's just like, damn it, I want Pierce back. I hate them. I want Pierce Brosnan back as James Bond.
He's too busy doing Mamma Mia 2.
No, he wanted to come back as James Bond.
I know he did.
I'm
just saying Mamma Mia seemed to be more important at that point.
All right, let's get to this question because we've been asking this for like the longest time, wanting to get to it for the longest time, but never had a chance to.
Yeah, it's been on our list for a while.
Yeah.
And then we keep finding something more cool to talk about.
What is your favorite score / soundtrack for a video game?
There are a lot. I'm
Okay.
gonna limit this to 3 categories. I'm gonna limit this to one from the 8 or 16-bit genres.
Mm-hmm.
And I limit to one more current, and then one I think that's just like a compilation.
Okay.
For the old school, like Super Nintendo era, for me, Final Fantasy VI had a remarkable soundtrack.
Okay.
Every song in that game had its own purpose. Mm-hmm. There would be songs like Figaro Castle, which felt really royal, felt really like, oh, these guys are really good guys. Like, it's had such a good feel to it.
Yeah.
And then you have a song, like, I think it's called Metamorphosis, when Kefka is pushing all the statues and the world gets screwed up. And it is such a dark, dark tone song. And of course, you go to the final boss with Kefka, and that song is so just really just insane and twisted and sick and demented. They did a really good job making that soundtrack do everything it was supposed to do.
I've just never played that.
Get an emulator and play it.
I
Stop playing your Steam games that you got on sale.
I'm sorry. Sins of a Solar Empire is really addicting, okay? I cannot help it.
But anyways, moving on, we'll go to the more current. Final Fantasy X had a great soundtrack to me too.
I have to completely agree with you because it is one of the, like, it has songs in there that have the same kind of emotional resonance as Ocarina of Time did on the N64. It is a really well...
And no one can ever say that Otherworld is one of the most badass songs ever in a game.
Otherworld?
The heavy metal track at the Blitzball when the whole thing is crumbling.
Yep. The Jets theme.
That was the first time I ever heard screaming in music.
Yeah.
And that was such a great
And it worked so well for that, CG
for that Blitzball
scene.
scene, oh my god, it was such you're like, man, I want to see this game for real now just because of that song.
Yeah, it was pretty badass.
And I completely forgot about another game that does badass really well. Have you ever heard of the Guilty Gear fighting game series?
I've heard of Guilty Gear, never played it.
They're heavy metal sound. It's all heavy metal stuff.
Yeah.
And if there is any fighting game that knows how to make music, because they've done it for BlazBlue as well. They know how to get an intense soundtrack. Oh my god, every game they come out with, even some of the bad Guilty Gear games they've come out with, the music still keeps it somewhat interesting. So if any of you haven't ever heard them, like, start listening to mainly Guilty Gear XX, which is probably the best one that they've done. Some of the music in there is just phenomenally done. But for compilations for me, Sonic Generations.
Yeah.
Everything was so good. The only thing, and I had this conversation over Twitter, I can't believe Sonic 3 didn't get any mention in the entire game. They mentioned the shitty 2006 revival on the 360. They did Sonic Heroes, Sonic, and the Black Knight even got a level in there. Sonic 3 had nothing. No Angel Island, no Ice Cap, no Hydro City, no launch base. Nothing.
Yeah.
That's disgusting to me. The only mention they had was the final boss from 3. I don't know if you ever played 3.
I've only played the Sonic that came out on the Game Gear.
Oh man, that is probably one of the best. Like, a lot of people really love the boss theme from 2, but that final boss theme is such an intense, even in the 8-bit version, and they redo it and it's a lot more metallic. That gets your skin crawling because of how just really, really strong that beat comes off.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for you, I don't know how you want to do your versions, but that's how
I'm going to do it similar to yours. I'm going to go with old school, mediocre school, and new school type stuff. So basically the old, I'm going to say F-Zero.
Absolutely.
There's just some Mute City.
Mute City is probably one of the most well-known tracks.
And when they redo them and later on, it's just, those beats are just like,
they get more and more rocking every time they redo Mute City. Have you ever heard Power Glove's cover of Mute City?
No, I haven't.
Do that. They have a really good heavy metal cover of it.
Now, it just popped into my head, like, you know what's the best soundtrack, like, from the old days of 8-bit and just like, or 16-bit? It's just like F-Zero. Boom. Bam. Dana. I love that game anyways.
Well, even the options even the main menu has good
Yeah,
music.
it's just a great soundtrack overall.
Also, can we also count Rock and Roll Racing because they had like Black Sabbath as the first song for the first level, Paranoid and 8-Bit.
Yes, we can. I've never played that or seen it, but yeah, I guess so. But anyways,
What
moving
was
on.
it? It was Paranoid and Highway Star from Deep Purple are the two that I can remember.
Really?
I think they did Bad to the Bone too.
Wow.
But
and
like
they redid
8-Bit.
that in 8-bit?
It's really cool.
Jeez, that's awesome. That must have been pretty badass in like the sound studios.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you know what we're doing? We're remaking that in 8-bit. Yeah, that's a thing.
Well, I think 16-bit because that
16,
was SNES era. But anyway.
But going on to like kind of new schoolish, Final Fantasy X, obviously.
Yep.
But also Hitman 2, Silent Assassin.
That's your boat. I've never.
It's oh my god! Orchestral themes are awesome. I think it was
Well, MGS4 obviously.
Shit, who was it? MGS4 absolutely. But I think it was. I want to say it was Hans Zimmer, but I know that's not him because he did the Dark Knight soundtrack. Yeah. But it's really good orchestral stuff, and there's just moments where it's just like it's you just feel like a badass. Going off into the kind of new area stuff, yes, Metal Gear Solid 4 had an awesome soundtrack in terms of like making you feel certain ways via music, but the Mass Effect series made me feel like just there's moments where you just feel like I am such a badass because of this.
Especially in 3 with every time where they have the just anytime Earth's being attacked or something, all you hear is the in the background. And that's just like such an intense like, oh crap, something
I have to say
happening,
the piano, like it's called Leaving Earth.
Yeah.
The one you hear when you first like leave, and you've seen it in the trailers or at least heard it. That was kind of like, it was a really cool direction to take that musical like way of portraying that. They could have done like a rock, they could have done like something they've normally done, but they decided to take it really slowly, and just because it's an emotional scene.
I think the gist of this conversation tells us that Square Enix is still the king of music.
Absolutely.
They may not be making the best games anymore, but they can make a soundtrack.
They can make it.
Chrono Cross, Kingdom Hearts, Star Ocean, Dragon Quest is pretty good stuff.
And you know what?
Anything they come out with.
I didn't mind Final Fantasy XIII's music.
No.
Didn't mind it.
I mean, Nobuo Uematsu,
yeah.
If there was ever a video game music hall of fame, he'd be the one that's on the pedestal.
Yeah.
At the front of the museum.
He is on top, followed right beside whoever is doing, like, whoever did the Nintendo soundtracks for Legend of Zelda, Mario.
Koji Kondo.
There you go. You know a lot more than I do.
Well, it's because I have music on here and it shows the artist on my iTunes.
That's true.
It's cheating.
It is cheating.
Although Nobuo Uematsu, I know just because I've played every Final Fantasy game known to man.
Well, let me just think back to Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Like I said, it's a game that when you see the notes of the song, like my cover photo on my Facebook page is the Song of Storms, and all it has is the musical riff.
Yeah,
and then it says "Make It Rain," and everyone understands that played that game.
I mean, like even now, like nowadays, like. Everything's gotten so much more expansive. Like I said, with Guilty, you're getting so heavy metal. You got games like the Persona series that are a much more electronica kind of thing. And Shoji Meguro is such a good composer for that stuff. Like, I didn't think I could ever like music in that sense, but he does such a good job making it seem legit. And my girlfriend hates listening to that stuff. Because there's a lot of, like, female singing. It sounds really poppy.
Yeah.
But, like, it does its job. It makes you feel like it's real life. Because it feels... like what you would listen to if you were just a regular teenage girl or boy in high school.
Yeah.
So it really nails it. Yeah. And you even go to artists that do horror games, they might not be making music, but god damn do they make good scores.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Silent Hill.
Yep.
Oof.
The first Resident Evil.
Yep.
Really great in terms of sound design. Not maybe soundtrack, but definitely. I would say the first Dead Space, another killer in just sound art and just like being able to get all these different ways of making you feel something. When
you think now, we're getting legitimate composers doing game soundtracks now. It's not just the Nobuo Uematsus of the world. You're getting guys like Danny Elfman doing soundtracks for games now. That's incredible.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
You're getting legit music in almost any game now. There's almost no game now that you don't like the music in.
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, all these games have they're going out and getting great musicians to basically.
When you think Kingdom Hearts bringing Yutada Hikaru to do songs there, you've got I can't even think of like all the sports games, the Tony Hawk games. They get all these big bands in to put one song in there. but we'll not even bother with Guitar Hero and Rock Band. That's a whole different genre.
That's a whole different thing. But like, I found out who did the Silent Assassin. It's a guy named Jesper Kidd, and he did Codename 47, which was the first one,
Yep.
Contracts, and him and Silent Assassin, and they moved off to someone. No, they stayed with him for Blood Money. He does really great orchestral music, and it is orchestral. Like, it's the entire like symphony that's out there. The people that did Deus Ex, I mean, that was all electronic.
Yep.
And that sounded awesome. Like, it was really cool. It's just music in video games is really awesome.
I mean,
It's cool.
the comment that a lot of people made is it's not as catchy as anymore, and that's true. But that's because back in the 8 and 16-bit days, they had to concentrate so much on melody because they were limited in what they could do.
But to be honest, there's so much more of a, like, with Mass Effect.
Melody, you don't need the melody to convey an atmosphere.
No, you don't. And, like, with Suicide Mission, Leaving Earth, and then An End for Once and For all these, like, 3 music pieces, they don't have so much melody. I mean, maybe some of them do more than others, but it is very much a journey to an end, a climax, or something like that, which is so good. I don't know. I think that's it for us.
Well, if we keep going, we're just never going to stop.
We're never going to stop because it's just that long. But anyways, yeah, let's end it here. Guys, thanks for sticking with us through this entire massive rant about music and all this other jazz. I didn't expect it to be this long, to be honest. But basically, this is Downloadable Opinions. My name is Brian Best.
Adam Gayton here once again. Look forward to this on Saturday and the gaming or sports podcast the next day. Really starting to get better. I'm loving the fact that we're getting co-hosts now.
Yep.
We had some pretty good conversations. We talked about the Penn State scandal because that got put down.
Yep.
And we talk about UFC because Dana White made some insane comments. So if you guys are any UFC fans and you haven't heard the press conference from 149, get a listen to this because, oh man, does he ever get pissed off during this.
Oh, and the first episode of Red White Reviewed is our new movie reviewed viewing podcast.
Cue
That's
segue.
right. We made a actual name for it. We're actually going to be reviewing Exit Through the Gift Shop.
I'm not going to be reviewing.
You're not going to be reviewing. Me and my girlfriend Jess will be reviewing it on Monday. I think it'll be released. I just have to go through the editing process.
Whatever you want to do.
Whenever I can. It's going to be a lot of work. But whatever. Yeah, look for that. We're going to do Exit Through the Gift Shop. Like I said, a Banksy film. And we'll see you then, I guess. Right?
I guess so. I think it's time to send off. So.
Okay, this is episode 10 of Downloadable Opinions. Thank you again for sticking around. Subscribe and like this video and share it how you do.
It's a real shame that our 10th episode ended up being so washed down with no news.
Well, hey, we talked about awesome stuff.
We talked about awesome stuff.
This is our opinions.
So yeah, guys, thanks for listening. Hope to see you in the future. We'll catch you for episode 11.
Woo.